Hello and welcome to the Uneducated PT podcast with me, your host, Carl O'Rourke. The goal of this podcast is to bring on interesting and knowledgeable people from all walks of life, learn a little something from each conversation, and for you, the listener, to learn something from each episode. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the box below, show some support, and I'll see you on the next episode.
What are we talking about?
Okay, so I'll tell you exactly what we're talking about. But before I tell you what we're talking about, I need to ask you some questions. So, question number one, I'll start with Ger. Tell me about the best wedding that you've ever been to.
Best wedding I've ever been to. Uh, that's a tough one now. Because I have loads of different factors, whether I like the food or not. Like best food wedding I've been to were two of my clients up in Clock Jordan and Tip. That was the best food. I did have good fun at that wedding as well. I think the loosest wedding was a friend's wedding on the States. I do remember seeing the bride at was it maybe 4 in the morning at the after party, and it was kind of like a walk through the woods from the hotel to go to like a house where there's a DJ and stuff, and her white dress was ripped and black about halfway up from the dirt of running through the forest and messing inside in the house. And it was a heavy weekend.
Question, would you do a similar wedding if it was your own to either of them?
I always had this idea of getting kind of married in
The news.
like no. I'm a lot more tasteful than that. That'll be the after party later on. Um, in like a little woods that would be near a lake or the sea, preferably the sea. But like, Joe, you could have a big, huge kind of open marquee. Like, I joked to one of the lads, like, how do you pick out food for a wedding? Because I like so many different things that I think I'd have to do like some buffet style of every bit of food I like. But I think, yeah, getting married, kind of little lanterns, fairy lights, simple one inside in like a sheltered woods, and then going out to this like big, cool marquee that's looking out onto the water.
How much would you be willing to spend on your wedding?
Myself and the lads worked out one time how much a wedding would cost you if you did it all yourself. And we're fairly sure with the amount of guests you'd invite, 40K for the wedding and you'd make 10 grand.
So 30 grand you'd be looking to spend?
Well, if you spent the 40, you'd be getting 50 back somehow. I think it's 40 or 30, 40. It was one of those. I don't know. Like, I think I could do it for cheaper, but like I've seen some. I know someone that spent like fucking 90K on their wedding, and I was talking to someone because a friend of mine just told me he was getting married there in February. They're going really quickly, and I was like, if you gave me 90 grand to throw a party, all right, throw a party, you'd be dead. Like 90 grand? Are you insane? Like the party you could throw for that?
Rob, best wedding you've been to?
It's a difficult one to answer. I've been to quite a few good ones. My sister's was pretty good. That was quite laid back and chilled, to be fair.
How many people were at it? What did she do?
That's a great question. Anywhere between maybe like 50 to 70, like not the actual wedding itself.
Yeah.
Although there are quite a few people there as well. Yeah, probably like 70, 75 people.
That's a lot.
Is it?
Well,
Okay.
can't be.
Yeah.
This was for like the party bit afterwards. At the wedding itself, there wasn't that many.
Yeah.
And it was like a village hall, and they did like some ceilidh dancing and things like that. It was quite sociable. Kids were allowed, which I know some people don't like.
Yuck.
But they served the food to the yuck. They served the food to the guests, like, so they were stood there in the park. A lot of the time people walk past and they shake hands and they go, "Oh, congratulations." That was the congratulations bit. They were like serving the first snack or whatever.
The bride and groom were?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I do like that.
Just a nice bit of social. And I think the fact that it felt quite real, it didn't feel like too much of a show. I think that's probably partly why it's one of my favourite.
How much would you be willing to spend? Let's say you meet the perfect woman and you want to get married. How much would you be willing to spend on the wedding day?
Are her parents not paying?
Well,
Traditional.
back in the day, yeah, that's how it should have been,
Yeah,
wasn't
you're gonna get
Um,
20 goats and a load of money as well.
do you know what? I don't know. Um, Anything over a few grand sounds quite a lot of money to me. I'd rather spend more money over a longer period of time, like getting mates and family together more frequently
Yeah.
than just spending like 70, 80 grand on one wedding. But
And honeymoon.
yeah, and honeymoon as well, like having an actual explore afterwards. I don't know, 20 grand?
Okay, do you just want to know why I'm asking?
You're getting married to a Russian.
No, because obviously I went down this rabbit hole of looking at this research study, and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. So in Ireland, the wedding industry, according to recent figures from One Fab Day and WeddingsOnline.ie, the average Irish couple spends between 25 to 30 grand on their big day, with many reporting costs that far exceed that once the honeymoon, the dress, the extras are counted for, venues and food take.
Day two.
Yeah, day two, photographer, music. Meanwhile, engagement rings, often treated as a public sign of commitment, can easily cost 3 to 5 grand, depending on the stone and the brand. So you could be, if you followed the norms, you could be spending up to 50, 60, 70, 80k altogether. Um, and then why I looked that up was because I was reading this research study from relationship between spending and stability has been examined in a survey 2014 by Andrew France Tan and Hugo Milan, titled "The Diamond Is Forever and Other Fairy Tales: The Relationship Between Wedding Expenses and Marriage Duration." So surveyed more than 3,000 people, 3,000 married individuals in the United States. Now it's in the United States, it's 3,000 people, so it is correlation, not causation. Obviously I want to make that abundantly clear before reading these out, though, because obviously there's people who can spend a lot of money on a marriage and live happy married lives. But higher wedding costs over 20 grand were significantly associated with higher risk of divorce. Lower wedding costs, particularly 10 grand or under, were correlated with longer lasting marriages. Likewise, men who spent more on engagement rings were more likely to experience shorter marriages. Now, interesting enough, in the survey as well, number of guests had the opposite effect. So more guests predicted greater marriage stability, and then they have a few suggestions why that could be: stronger social ties and stuff like that. But also, you would also think that, well, you might have stronger social ties with less people, but a closer bond than like inviting a whole bunch of people. Anyway, but in short, the data suggests that financial extravagance does not buy marriage happiness, and might even undermine it. The researchers speculated that debt stress, materialism, and status signaling pressures could all erode satisfaction and stability over time. And this goes into something called cost signaling theory that I was looking up, basically, which is basically a concept from economics and evolutionary biology, which basically the theory holds that for a signal to be credible, it means that there must be a cost. So think about like, basically the more I spend on this wedding, the more it shows that I'm committed to this relationship, that I'm committed to this person. The more I spend on an engagement ring for this person shows the more that I love this person and that I'm committed to being with this person. Where it could be the case where someone who, or a couple who are very very confident and comfortable in their relationship might not feel they need to spend an abundance on the marriage to suggest that they're committed to each other or that they love each other.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking with that last statement. If they don't feel the need to spend it,
it's just about
yeah. And if they're overspending or spending a lot of money, it's either they're not happy, so they're trying to overcompensate for something they're not happy with,
Or
or
to piss and contest with other people.
that, or they just generally prioritize materialistic objects and they're not going to be happy with the human relationships that they've got
A,
over.
a f- a funny one about the engagement rings. There was there a couple of years ago. I think it was Dubai Diamonds or something. It was some lady out in Dubai was bringing back cheaper cuts of diamonds for like, like just buying engagement rings, and I think like a ring that might cost 5 grand might be two. Now, don't quote me on the exact fucking numbers, but I know it's way cheaper to go that route. And what I found funny was a load of people that got engaged, generally working in finance or something around those kind of jobs, all bought those rings, and most of them looked the exact same. So like the going like to the like relating it to like cheaper weddings, like cheap is subjective. Like, like when you say 20 grand for a wedding, because of what I've seen before, I do think 20 grand is cheap for a wedding. But if you also ask me to pay 20 grand tomorrow for a wedding, I'd be like, oh fuck.
But
It's
do you think that it is it seems cheap for a wedding because you've been socially conditioned to believe that oh you should be spending 20 grand on a wedding?
Yeah.
yeah. Like I don't think I've been to a wedding that's cheaper than 20 grand, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean by a long shot, not even 20 grand.
It
So
almost seems like one of those numbers that's been thrown out there, like the 10,000 steps a day.
yeah,
It's almost
Yeah.
like, oh, 20 grand, let's put that number on it. That's the target now.
I think it was more socially acceptable in the 70s and 80s to just go down to the registry office, get married, and then go for food and celebrate with like friends
It
and
was
close
it,
family.
it was also way cheaper, man.
Yeah.
Like I look at all the actually a good one I'd say I was probably about 17, 18. I went to two different cousins' weddings on different side of the families, and one was my dad's side, and it was his my uncle's only daughter, and it was a huge wedding. Like he bought everyone at the wedding around for a toast of whatever the fuck you wanted, double this, whatever. I would have thought that was quite a costly wedding because I couldn't tell you what numbers were there, but there was like I'm one of 31 grandchildren. So there's second cousins and friends of business and everything like that. So there were so many people there. And the other cousin's wedding was pretty fucking hefty as well. Like you don't think about like just the food. Like you're paying for the hotel. Like I don't know what the story was with like parking fees and different things like that. You're paying for everything. It's not a you get to take home all this. The day two then whether they're paying for that open bar for a certain period amount of time. Like that wedding I went to in the States, that had an open bar.
Hmm.
The real joy of that wedding, I was the only Irish person there. Her parents loved me, and like every time her dad would walk by, he was like, "Make sure you get up to the bar. It's free until 11 o'clock." And I was like, "Don't worry, I have my own tray." But like, I don't know how much drink got through at that wedding, and that in my head would have been on the cheaper side of weddings, even though it was still fancy and as fancy as fuck. It was up in Maine. It was on a lake location. It was pretty fucking cool.
But does that
Um,
not sound madness to you that if you think about it logically, that you're just throwing basically 20 grand behind the bar to pay for drinks for people who, like, realistically, you might have like you might talk to them for about 2 seconds in the night. Like, let's say
yeah,
if you have a guest list of like 300 people, right? Like I'm going to a wedding now, or I'm supposed to be going to a wedding anyway next year, and there's like 300 people there, and like it's like 200 quid for your room, and then you have to pay for your suit, and then you'll have your drink and all, and I'm like I'm going to be dropping about 500, 600 quid to just go to a glorified party, really. And
yeah.
I'm not even gonna have a proper conversation with these two people getting married because they're gonna be so busy with so many people that like no one like no they're not really they're celebrating with everyone, but they're also not really celebrating with anyone, if that makes sense.
I have a friend that only does stags.
Yeah, that's I'm
He
all about
does he does the stag, and then he got caught. I think now a couple of years of doing it, he got called out one night on a night out by one of the girls, and he was like, I'm just going to stop you there. And he was like, if you have a black tie wedding, I need to rent a tux. I need to pay for a hotel room that I'm going to be in for about 3, 4 hours at most.
100%.
I have to give you a gift after you invite me to a party. He was like, any other cost that comes up from it, he was like, will be there as well. And he was like, I don't mind drinking with the lads. That was his closing point. He was just like, you pay not even a third of the price. Like stags are normally jumped into a fucking hostel.
Yeah.
So it's cutting costs. It's about putting in as much drink and laughs as you can.
Mhm.
So like weddings are quite costly. Like hotel room could be 3, 4, if not 3, 4, if not more. Like depending on where you go, it's nuts.
And also, like I can think off the top of my
On
head
the
now,
list.
three or four couples I know who, they threw a great wedding, a great
Yeah,
party, and divorced after that.
yeah,
And like it's so strange as well. It's like one of them, like one of them's my cousin, and like he was with this girl for like 8 9 years, and like they from the outside in, solid as a rock. The minute they got married, then they split up.
yeah.
And I think they're still going through the divorce. And I think a lot of people hold on to the idea of their relationship that, they're like, the especially the woman is going to be like, she wants the wedding day. Do you know what I mean? She wants the white
Yeah.
dress. She wants the intention and stuff like that. And then she's probably holding on to that idea in her head that that will solve all the issues in the relationship, throwing that big wedding all about her. And then the minute they have the wedding then and they realize that, oh, now like I have to spend, my Monday and days with this person, it's like, all right, shit, maybe I made the wrong decision.
Some people see the wedding day as the like pinnacle of their life, don't they? And
Yeah,
like as soon as that's done, it's the best day of their life. What's next?
yeah.
So yeah,
It's
Well, it's also like you see
normally
them.
moves on to kids to fix it.
Yeah, well, that would be even worse. But like,
Yeah,
it's like they see the wedding day as the like the completion of the marriage. But realistically, that's just now you're only getting started. Now you have to spend the next 50 years with that person.
Joe, actually just on weddings, the ones I've actually, the parts of them that I've really enjoyed at certain weddings is, the top table,
Hmm.
of everyone, the groomsmen, the parents, and all that stuff. Some of the weddings where I've seen the couples sitting at a table on their own, I think is the loveliest thing ever. I like you're
mm,
inviting everyone to your party. So like fuck off, it's your day. Like I hear about weddings where people like barely get to eat anything. They're sitting down for a moment and someone's pulling them off to do something or they have to go talk to someone else. Um I tell you man, if I get married, that's not gonna be happening. I'm gonna eat every bit of food that I've decided I want on that day. I'm gonna chill out with my wife. I'm not gonna be pulled and dragged around the place. And like I do think you can do a good party for a lower price.
Well, like, essentially, you're just instead of enjoying your wedding day, you're just being an event planner and stressing about everyone
Yeah,
else rather than enjoying the
yeah.
day and
yeah.
going broke over it.
But yeah, that's the other thing. Like, the weddings that are up like 90, 100, 150 even, like I can understand if you have the money.
Yeah.
I get it, right? But would you not do a cheaper wedding and use like let's say 150? Would you not use 50K to travel the world?
They've probably already got 100 aside for that as well.
Well,
You
well,
don't know.
well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do go broke spending all their money on their wedding, and this goes back to the cost signaling theory that I was talking about. So, uh, what was I'm trying to pull out this article. So, um, these findings sit in a world where divorce is easier and faster than ever before. In Ireland, reforms over the past decade have made the process far more accessible. Marriage today depends less on religious or legal permits and more on a personal choice. When it becomes easier to leave, couples often feel the need to demonstrate that their bond is strong. Weddings become a stage where commitment is performed rather than assumed. So, like back in the day, you would like marriage was all about like just a legal bonding for like I don't know, you're bringing two families together, whether it's two kings from different countries, or it's like something to do with property. Like it was more
Connecting
a
kingdoms and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it was
It was
more.
a
It was.
business thing.
It was a business. It was a financial thing to increase the status of your family or of the clans or whatever it was. Like it was a business transaction essentially more so. And then obviously there was the religious element of that, like marriages till death. And then obviously
Matt,
now, yeah. Well, obviously now that divorce is like so easily accessible compared to back then, it's like, all right, well, the commitment isn't as great now in terms of
you kind
marriage.
of you kind of can't you can argue against it being easier to get divorced because there's a lot of situations where it being tough to get divorced has led to lots of like abuse and different stuff like
Well,
that.
I
But
don't think it's easy, but it is easier because it was legal back then.
yeah,
It
but
was illegal.
the religious one I find interesting. I was only talking to someone about this the other day. There's a guy that lives around here, facilitated a grow house, and I think they were like breeding dogs and different stuff as well. Like, went to jail for a couple of years. Um, I think he's a bit of a wanker. I don't know him personally, but it interacts with other people. But he went to jail for a couple of years. His wife is devout, religious fanatic, like, and said to someone, even with him going to prison, she can't leave because she took vows. So, like, it is the idea that probably wants to leave.
Yeah, but that's what I
Probably,
mean. But that's what I mean. Like
yeah,
if you take marriage seriously like that, then you already have that high commitment. But because there isn't a high commitment now, because people just go through two or three or four divorces in a
yeah,
lifetime, it's like, okay, so how do I show my actual commitment to this? How do I signal my commitment to this person or to this marriage? It's like I'm going to spend more and more money, more money than my neighbor, more money than the Trisha down the road. So it's like the cost of weddings has actually increased over time, not just because the cost of living has increased, but
yeah.
because it's become more of
Show.
a show of my commitment rather than the actual marriage itself and being like, well, I'm gonna stay with this person until I die.
Yeah. Like, I think I talked to someone about it before where like having a small wedding where you have like parents, closest members of family, your like strongest friendships at a small intimate wedding. Maybe somewhere abroad, so you do somewhere small, little like weekend away, and then come back and throw an absolute session then for everyone else that you would actually, think about inviting to a standard wedding.
Mm.
Because it is like it's some of the money's fucking crazy. Like, for 3 days, two, it's nuts.
I went to my brother's wedding up in Denmark
Oh
in
yeah,
was it August or July or something like that,
it was
and
July.
they had a tiny wedding, and I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna invite X, Y, and Z. You're not gonna invite this person. You're not gonna invite this person." Like, and I was questioning it, and then I went to it, and it was only like 15 people there, and it was lovely. It was the nicest thing
Yeah,
I've been to. They went up to Denmark. They went to the up to to the main castle or wherever you go in and they got married. It was a lovely little ceremony. Only so it was only about 15-20 minutes. Your man just said a few words. He was really good, and then we went out for like wine tasting and a Michelin star restaurant, and everyone was sat there chatting and drinking and having fun, and
yeah.
everyone was having conversations with everyone. And I was like, this is much better than a lot of the weddings that I've been to of with like 200 people.
My brother's wedding back in May, and I remember maybe might have been a month, might have been a couple of months. I can't remember when we were talking about it. Might have actually been Christmas when he was home for the stag. And my dad was saying, he was like, they're not going to watch this. You have to invite the Scannels. And I was sitting there with my brother, and my dad left, and my brother's like, do I have to? And I was like, it's your fucking day. You can do whatever you want. And then my dad came back, and he was like, I know you have to invite them, like, you know them. And I looked at him, I was like, I don't think I know them. And he was like, "Do you remember back whatever year he mentioned?" And he was like, "This solid guy came up and shook your hand outside the church." And I was like, "No." And I turned to my brother and was like, "That's a reason not to invite them." I was like, "If you can't pick them out of a lineup or you don't actually know who they are, you shouldn't have to bring them."
Isn't that such a isn't that such an interesting statement? You have to, like,
Yeah.
because you're socially obliged to do X, Y, and Z.
Well, hence why, like, I think what you see a lot at certain weddings when certain people are invited, parents have put money towards the wedding.
Yeah.
You know, you always see a table of people that you're like, I know we know you. Why the fuck are you here? Like, do you know, that kind of way. And like, I think if there's money put in by someone else, you kind of then get that stranglehold on the invite list. So I know my brother went on his own for it, so he had control of it.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? It's like, all right, well, if someone else is paying for it, then the control is essentially a little
Yeah.
bit out of your hands now.
Or you take the money and be like, no, it's my day. I'm doing what I want.
I think sometimes there is that pressure, isn't there, from I guess generations up, maybe like maybe your parents or whoever um, have had those interactions with that person in the past, or they've helped them out with something,
Yeah.
they've helped them get through a tricky spot that you don't know about, and there's a level of respect there. And then if for some reason your brother's wedding is one of those things where they're not invited to, it's a slight on them potentially, even though it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, there'll always be some kind of bad little, like, not bad blood, but you know what I mean. There'll always be some kind of negative kind of view of it. But
Oh,
like the
I
No, it's
huge
think
not owed.
difference, the
It's not owed.
huge, the huge difference is like a 90 grand wedding now would have bought you a fucking house back then when they were getting married.
But you know what? I think it's wild that people would think that it's offensive not to invite. Like, if I'm grateful when people don't invite me to their weddings. I don't want to go to your wedding. I couldn't think of. I don't care if I've known you for 15 years. Like, we can go for lunch. We can go for a stroll. We can do a workout. I don't need to go to your fucking wedding to show that I care about you. You know what I mean? I don't need to go to your glorified party. Also,
Remember,
I can
remember,
see you the
remember
next
that,
day.
Rob. Remember that. Make sure to invite him. He's
Ah.
laying out the chairs and assigning everyone to their seats.
listen,
Very
listen,
explicit that he wasn't
listen
well.
here, lads. If you get married, right? If you get engaged, all right. I'm gonna be the happiest person in the world for you. Don't invite me to your wedding. I will still do the podcast with you next week, and I'll be delighted.
Well, 100% gonna invite you.
Like, yeah.
Like, I've no, I don't think I've any interest in the glorified parties anymore. Like, I know, like, weddings are great when you're there and stuff like that, but if you do like 4 or 5 of them a year, it's like, oh, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I had a client that had, was it 9 or 10?
Yeah.
9 or 10 in a year. I think one or two abroad as well. Like, now to be honest, the ones abroad were cheaper, and they tied it in with a holiday. So like, I actually think sometimes they work out. But like, yeah. So we won't invite you to the stag. We'll invite you to the wedding.
I was just about to say that, yeah, rejecting from the stag.
No, bring me to the stag.
No,
I'll
no,
I'll
no, no,
I'll
no, no, no. You're a wedding guest.
I'll organize the stag, and I won't show up to the wedding. You know. Would you prefer to get married abroad, or at home? Do you think? Because I think if you decide to do it abroad, you kind of save yourself the hassle of, like, oh well, I'm only going to invite a certain amount of people because it's abroad now, because most people won't want to go, or they'll have a reason not to go.
I'd say home. Like, I'd do it abroad if there was like a specific place that felt like it was something special for myself and my partner, or hypothetical partner, or family or whatever. But realistically, home. I guess that's home is where the heart is, isn't it? So I think if you've got that connection to home with your wedding, it'd be a bit more special, in my opinion. I don't know. What about yourself, Joe? What about you, Carl? Actually, where would you get married? You've been avoiding this.
Yeah.
I'd get married in a woods like Ger.
That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
We'll get a bonfire going, a couple of marshmallows, invite no one.
Invite just the two of us and the priest.
The
No.
priest isn't even. I'm not even paying for the priest. I'm gonna do it myself. I'll do the ceremony myself.
I'll do it for you. I'm ordained. I'm Reverend Horan for the last 14 years of the Church of Life.
All right, can I go on to cost signal and theory and give you a couple of different examples, and
Yeah.
you can see if you're guilty of this, and then try to explain the logic behind
Yeah.
them behaviors. So obviously, number one was luxury weddings. All right, spending a huge amount on weddings signals financial stability, commitment, and social status. The cost makes the signal appear more credible. Designer clothes. How are we with designer clothes?
Ooh.
The only reason I sometimes like getting them is because they are better quality and they last a bit longer. If it's just to do with the label, I don't really care.
What about you, Jer?
Uh, well, like you've seen how I dress sometimes when I'm in my gym. Like my clients joke, like I look homeless sometimes when I'm walking around the village, but I'm also bougie at heart. I think it's just a natural. Like I do like good clothes. I think it does come from my dad, where it's like buy once well rather than five times shit.
Hmm.
That kind of idea. So like quality does last that bit longer. And then there's just some brands that are expensive and they're nice.
Yeah. What do you
I
think
feel
that's?
pretty in them.
What do you think that signals?
I think it depends on how you approach it. If you literally can only buy brands, sometimes it suggests a little bit of insecurity to me. But if you have like that genuine intrinsic reasoning of, I just like it, I'm going to get it for me. I'm not wearing it out to impress people. I want it as comfortable. It fits well. I feel good in it. I think that's all right. If there's exact same t-shirt, one's I don't know, Abercrombie and Fitch. I don't really know many brands clearly.
Yeah.
One's Abercrombie and Fitch. One is just Primark. They're exact same t-shirt, exact same material. One just has the logo on it. You, yeah, I
What are you
think.
what are you trying to signal there?
Um, I guess wealth, importance,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe
I
just
I
like design and it looks good. I don't know.
I was in Brown Thomas maybe when I was 17, 18, looking at like leather jackets. I just wanted to get a nice coat. Now I knew they were going to be expensive, like at least 300 quid or something like that. And I was just looking at them. And someone working there, some older lad came over and he was like, he literally goes, he's like, I wouldn't be looking at them, you can't afford them. And now he's not wrong. One of them was about €900 and I pulled it off the fucking rack. But I was like, well, fuck you anyway. Like, just looking at me and saying I can't get it. And I remember a couple of years later, I was in Galway and I was selling bags of sunshine at the time. And so I was flush with cash, but literally dressed fairly standard the way I'm dressed now. And we're in this outdoor shop, myself and two of the lads. And this guy working there, probably the owner, had a load of the like heavy duty North Face parkas, like you could take on the Antarctic with them. Like
Hmm.
he had a load of those. I'd say about like 50 odd jackets, and I was looking at one, and he was like, "Oh, they're about 750 odd quid," and I was like, "Right," and I was like, I'll give you 450 for it because you're not selling these in Ireland. Like, it's a bit wet. I was like, only drug dealers are going to buy these. Like, and yeah, and he looked at me and he was like, if you have 450 cash on you, I'll give you that jacket. So I pull out my wallet, big fucking wad of 50s, start counting it out, hand it to your man. And my mate always laughs. He was like, the funniest moment. He'd be like, you had this shit jumper on, you dropped it on the ground, threw on your jacket, and walked out the fucking door. And I was like, I always tie it back to the time in Brown Thomas where I was like, fuck you looking at me thinking I don't have money. I was like, I'm going to buy this. I still have that jacket, still wear it. It was a good investment, but it was also a fuck you. I can buy, I can buy it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I think that is like to do with like signaling in theory as well. Like, if you can buy the jacket, what does that signal? It probably signals success in some sort of way. Like, I can
Yeah,
afford it
take care
because.
as well, doesn't it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
It signals you can take care of yourself as well, that
Yeah,
you are,
yeah,
yeah, valid.
yeah.
A successful business.
I think that's the same with a lot of things. A lot of it comes down to, right, I'm signaling that, I'm successful, that I have wealth. Like you said, it could be taste as well. It's like I'm signaling that, I know how to dress myself well, or I have, good taste in terms of fashion. Um, yeah, and it's the same way. So flashy cars as well. Driving a luxury car signals financial power, confidence, success.
Yeah, like an Audi with leather seats.
And it
To
also
be
indicates a small pair of shoes.
here, listen. I had no issue driving that. What year was
Oh,
it? Oh
was it a
wait,
Polo?
Oh, wait, Volkswagen Golf for 4 years. Even
Yeah.
when I had money, I drove it into the ground. The only reason I got rid of it is because it was about to explode. So
Well, I
I
that's
was, I
that's
was, I was forced to upgrade. All right.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about Phyllis, my Peugeot outside. It's an absolute banger. She makes these off. Rob was driving her. She makes awful noises when you're driving around, and I just find it funny because I don't care about the car. But then the odd time I'll borrow the old man's car. I think going up to your event, and
Yeah.
I do find it hilarious when you'll see middle-aged men looking at you in like a almost span new Volvo Jeep leather seats, and they're like, obviously they're looking at it like, what does that lad do? And you get out in a pair of shorts and a Crocs wearing these fucking rings. And you're just like, we're probably a drug dealer, but like, you
Yeah,
know,
like you can't not notice a young man in a
in a nice
luxury
car.
car. Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
think it
it
was.
it does
Go on.
signal it does signal something, and you're like, oh, I wonder what he does. Like, do you know what I mean? It signals status, whether you want it, whether it's true or not. That's what it signals.
Yeah, I thought my one of my favorite stories was when we did that talk. Myself and Kelly did the talk for your clients in Project Fitness. And like, Kelly's got a great business. She's built a house out in Wicklow, and she was there talking about her banger car not starting and having to run down the road to borrow her dad's car. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, it's what's important.
Yeah.
Like you're forced into an upgrade, but like that whole idea, like I was only talking to someone today about upgrading the car and my dad, and I was like, I prefer to put the money into the business right now because then I can buy what I want later.
Yeah.
Having a nice car now means fuck all to me if I don't have 10 grand to throw into a business.
Well, here's the interesting one, right? And I completely agree with you. Like, Kelly has a really successful business. You'd look at her driving her car and you wouldn't realize how much she makes, and you'd be surprised. And then you'll also have then the opposite end of the spectrum where you have someone who's probably struggling financially, but they feel the need to put
Links
themselves
together.
in debt to signal that they are successful by having a nice car or a fancy watch or designer clothes. But then you have the other end of the spectrum as well, which is a funny one. It's like, do you ever notice the way like you get to some people get to a level of wealth where it might be like Mark Zuckerberg or someone like that, and it's like they're so wealthy and they're billionaires and they dress like homeless people.
But isn't that what we talked about um one of the last podcasts about minimizing the amount of choice they have to make in their life. They
Yes,
kind of
yeah,
go
yeah. This is
like
yeah.
I dress like I'm homeless most of the time. Like when I go to different things and like wear a nice pants or a shirt and a jacket, everyone's like, "Oh, you're dressed up," and I'm like, "No, I am wearing my grown up clothes, as I call them." Like, but
Mm.
it's like I'm comfortable in a tracksuit pants, pair of Crocs, a grubby t-shirt, a ripped flannel. I was like, "Who am I trying to fucking impress with my clothes?"
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an interesting one because it's like if it's a millionaire, you might not know who they are, so it's like they almost need to dress themselves up or have the fancy card to signal that they are who they say they are. They're a millionaire, and then you're like, oh, this person must be someone. But then
I
if you get to a level of status where it's like it's even more of a signal to dress down or to not like show how much you spend.
I've a good one about my dad, Rob. You met my dad. He says you have a solid pair of legs on you, just so you know.
I'll
He'd feel
take that.
good about that. My dad grew up with like 10 siblings on a dairy farm. He has done very fucking well for himself. But I think like he used to have company cars. Like you go in, you pick out your car, blah blah blah, whatever way it worked out. I think he was always religiously Volvos. That's what he went with. Volvos were his car. And he decided once he was like, I'll break out, I'll go to BMW. Now, my dad, not giving a fuck about anything, goes into BMW with his wellies on after doing a job in the field covered in grass. and this young sales lad comes up to him. He's like, um, "Sir," and he was like, "I'm just looking to, buy a Jeep or something like that." And your man was like, "Yeah, yeah, but I can't have you walking around in those wellies. You're putting muck and grass everywhere." And he was like, "All right, yeah, sorry, John. I'll go wipe them over there." He's like, "Do you have a bag or something I can put on him?" And your man's like, "No, no, you'll have to take them off and just leave them at the door." And he was like, "I'm not walking around here in my socks." And your man was like, well, I can't leave you walk around the place." And he just looked at me. He's like, "Right, I'm going back down to Volvo." And that's about, I'd say, about 80, 90 grand lost there. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Over cleaning the
if you
floor that
if
you
you
live
see
in.
someone coming in with dirty wellies on into a place like that, you fucking give them a chair and a cup of tea and as many biscuits as you can, because they're gonna have money to spend. Otherwise, they wouldn't go in there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, one of my mates, I can't remember what school he went to, whether it was Marlborough, um,
Ma, bro.
a pretty well-known, like, wealthy school.
Yeah.
He would say, like, it wouldn't be the people that would turn up in a Lamborghini or like a McLaren or a really, really fancy Audi R8 or something. It wouldn't be those that were the ones that you turned around and went, oh, fucking hell, they're pretty wealthy. It was the person that turned up in like the beaten up Volvo estate that would clearly just come from like a big farm or something. It was the one that looked rough. You turned your head and you were like, oh, they've got status.
They're hiding their money.
That's real country money though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, farming money, like driving your car until it looks like that scene out of Father Ted, where the car's battered on the outside, or like there's so many holes in your pants you finally have to throw them out.
hmm. I think there. I remember listening to. I don't know if it's a podcast or I read it. I can't remember, but it was basically showing how, like, if you come from money, you're less likely to need to, signal that you come from money by buying the fancy car and stuff like that. But if
Yeah.
you notice, like, someone who came from poverty, like, let's say someone in the United States who, grew up in poverty and then they got their first contract in the NBA or something like that, what's the first thing they do is buy the most expensive fancy car in the world
Our
because
house, yeah,
yeah, exactly.
clothes,
Because
watch.
now this athlete has grown up in poverty wants to signal that they've made it, that they have money. And I think
Yeah.
it's interesting, that mindset of when you've come from money, you don't need you don't have the need to signal it as much.
I think there's probably a connection between how you present yourself and how you feel. Like with, well, there definitely will be. Like when you've grown up with money, you don't have to present yourself a certain way to feel that way. People know that you're from that money. You get that kind of input. Just turn himself around a little bit.
Someone tried to call me.
Yeah, you kind of have those kind of societal and relationship kind of feelings going on. Can't use my words very efficiently, but when you come from poverty, you don't have those kind of positive reinforcements from like external positive reinforcements, basically.
Well, a great example is Ger going and buying that jacket for 450 quid to prove that little kid wrong.
Yeah,
Yes,
well, he wasn't a little kid; he was an old man. It was more of a royal fuck you. It was like fuck you in your shop and stupid boy
But
jackets.
see, but that mindset is probably the mindset of that, sports athlete who finally has money now. It's like,
Yeah, but
fuck
the,
you,
the other
society.
the other thing,
but
like ye know where I'm from. Nobody believes I'm from there.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like like my barber, like, he only said it to me there a couple of weeks ago. I was leaving and he was like, the lads were asking about you that work in the shop, and I was like, all right. And he was like, yeah, I told him, like, he's a PT. And they were like, oh, where is he doing that? And they were like, he was like out in Adair. And they were like, geez, how did he get out there? And he was like, oh, he's from there. And they were like, no. They're like, no, this doesn't blend in where I am. Like, mine is more fucking chinos, Ralph Lauren shirts, and nice big jeeps tearing around the place. Now you have your mix of everyone. Same kind of idea. There's a lot of people around here that have loads of money that will drive a standard car.
Yeah,
They won't flash out in clothes and stuff like that. Mine
but
was also just, my situation with back then was acting out.
yeah. Well, that
what I was going to say before was like those people that grow up in it don't feel the need to present it
yeah,
because they get that kind of
Yeah.
feedback. But then when you find yourself in it and you associate that positive feedback with the fact that you've been successful, you feel the need to keep presenting it rather than
Yeah.
accepting yourself. I assume anyway. I'm not in that position.
Right, man. Like, if I know if I won the lotto tomorrow, the first thing I'd be buying with wheels is a nice van and decking it out for camping and tearing around the countryside. Now I'd obviously start buying some other stuff as well, and I'd do it up well nice, but like it wouldn't be go if I had stupid Euro Millions money, I wouldn't be going buying a sports car that can still go the same speed limit as every other car.
Would you not be spending it on your wedding?
Well, you have to have a woman to do that.
Do you want to hear some other cost signaling ones that are a little bit different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, endurance sports like no, actually, I'll go with this one. Tattoos in certain cultures. So, in some groups, visible tattoos signal toughness or commitment to the group because they're painful, permanent, and socially risky. The cost is physical and social.
Well, isn't it wasn't it in Japan for the Rugby World Cup? A lot of the players had to wear like long sleeve thermal layers and stuff because having tattoos over there is a sign of being in the what are
The
they?
Mutsu gang.
So yeah, there's a couple of different gangs, but there was a triads, isn't it?
Yeah,
No,
try.
that's Chinese, isn't it?
I don't know. I just literally
No,
mentioned
it's one of them anyway. You're like that was it because like
that.
I think my mom even said it to me. She was like, "There's certain places you couldn't go now with all your tattoos and stuff." Like even when I was working in the States, she was like, "You need to cover them when you're going
Yeah,
places."
yeah. Well, in Japan, if you're going into a restaurant, you have to cover your tattoos. It's
Yeah,
just the social norm. But if you think about it, even in like Mexican gangs and stuff like that, they have to get themselves tattooed from head to toe to, signal that they are, in a gang and they're not to be messed with and they're tough and all that stuff.
So I'd be fine in Japan because I've got none
Yeah, you'll be fine for now. For now.
now.
Do you want to? I'll give you another one. So endurance
I've
sports
got a
like
slutty cake.
Endurance sports like Ironman races, so completing a marathon or a triathlon signals discipline, health, and mental strength. It is credible because it takes huge effort and time.
Define mental strength in that regard. The resilience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
do you agree?
Well, what are we agreeing or disagreeing with?
Well, I think you see this in the fitness space a lot as well, is that that people want to signal that they are superior in terms of their dedication or resilience or discipline by, oh, look at the 50-kilometer mud run that I did, or the 5 marathons in 5 days, or like it feels like
I'm
the
better than you.
well, it feels like the challenges are getting more and more extreme via social media. Like whether you're fucking running the length of Africa or you're trying to do, 50 ultra marathons in 50 days.
But
Or,
they talked about that
yeah,
at your event there the other week, or last weekend.
fitness deflation or something.
Yeah, that like how like running a 5K or a 10K or a half marathon or a marathon even now
Mhm.
isn't that big a deal. Like if you tell someone, I ran a half marathon, they're like, "All right, you're gonna do a full one,"
Yeah,
you know?
Thing is, though, that's not really the case, is it? It's like it's not. I guess statistically, it's probably not the case at all. But in terms of um, our exposure to it, it is. Like the
yes,
people that were going to do it anyway are probably doing it anyway, regardless. But we're aware of it now, and we're all in that industry. We're following people that are into fitness.
Yeah,
Whereas if in the village that I live in, you went round and said, "I'm going to run a marathon next week," most of them would probably be like, "Are you all right?"
yeah,
I would never do that. Whereas if we post something on social media now of going, "Oh, I'm running 5K," no one's going to bat an eyelid.
yeah,
That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Well, depending on the bubble we're in, like people will like as you said earlier, like just me saying just to 5K. I said just because I cut off 3 kilometers so I could get
Yeah.
back here and have a shower. But like it is that idea that like for people a kilometer is a lot. 5K is a lot. I fucking hate doing it. But like there's a marathon on next September that I do want to try and do. And I will tell everyone about it, but for a different reason. It's Marathon du Médoc. It's on in Bordeaux. There's wine at every mile station. They have 50 orchestras dotted around the place. There's oysters and steak and foie gras and dance parties and fucking massage places going like it's a festival. I also believe I'm conditioned to be able to drink for 23 miles and do a run compared to people who don't drink and do 23 miles.
When's this again?
It's on in September. I think Neve's going to do it with me.
Well, this is why you go back about the just 5K thing. It's the exact same thing as the wedding signaling. Like spending 10 grand used to be expensive on a wedding, but now you look at weddings and people are comparing themselves to their neighbor, the person they see on social media, and it's like, oh, now you have to spend. Oh, the social norm is to spend 30 grand, but if you really love your partner, you have to spend 50 grand, and it's the same thing now in terms of cost signaling for discipline and resilience. It's like, well, a 5K doesn't signal any of them things anymore. It has to be a marathon. It has to be 3 marathons, and it's because like that fitness deflation thing is that, like, you see other people do it now, and now it's just a new norm to.
Like I'm gonna hope to do a half in May in Limerick, just to kind of keep training towards the one in September. But like, I have no joy in doing a marathon. No real huge want to do it, but when I saw the video of this one on in France, I was like, now that looks like fun.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me to go fucking running for 23 miles. You'll be pissed. I'm going to spend June to August next year training with a camel pack of wine on my back.
Do you want to know one? I'll give you one more signaling cost. So expensive first dates.
Oh.
So picking a high-end restaurant signals interest, confidence, or financial capability.
Funny story with this. So it wasn't a first date, and hopefully she's not listening. She'll not be too happy if she is. It was, I think it was second, but it's funny. So if you're listening, whoever, you know who you are. I'm not saying this in spite.
What's her name?
What's
her name?
I think you can probably guess. But
is it you? Is it you, Trish?
Trisha, sorry, Trish.
Is it Trish or is it Chloe? Which one?
We won't go into detail. Who's Trish? Also, I'll pretend. Who's Chloe?
No, I'm just trying to make it seem like you have 3 girls on the go.
No, it was Sarah.
Sarah, lovely.
Went to London for the night.
Yeah.
Went to the theatre. Went for a nice meal. Spent quite a bit of money together. Like we kind of split it 50-50. Apparently, it wasn't a romantic date though. Going away, and going to the theatre, doing that. I don't know.
Well, I would like
spending that money basically doesn't.
If you took me to the theatre, I wouldn't be giving you anything either.
So, like, this is the thing, right? But this is the thing about like signaling. It's like if you let's say if you go on a first date with someone, right, and you go for coffee with them, it might signal that, oh well, you don't know if you're interested or not because you're not making a huge to do about it. But if you bring them to like a Michelin star restaurant, you spend 200-300 quid. It's like, oh, this person is really into me. When in reality, it might not be the case because this person could just have 200-300 to blow.
True. I don't know. I think it depends on the context and the interaction. Like
it does.
You could spend that much money and not really show an interest, and they clearly know you're not interested and that you've just got that money to spend. Like the money itself doesn't necessarily indicate, does it?
No.
I think
that's why it's only a theory. But it's like, but I mean, like, I presume if you brought this one to London, did you say?
Yeah.
Like and you're spending that amount of money, like, it's obviously someone that you're interested in, so you're signaling that you're interested in that person by creating this financial burden.
Yeah, true. I think, even though it wasn't necessarily romantic by definition, we both demonstrated that we were interested. So yeah, I guess in that regard. It's the time commitment as well, though, I think.
Yes.
For that, more than anything, it was the effort getting there. It was the time that we spent together, rather than the amount of money that was spent on it.
Yeah, that's a big one for me. I'd be like, no, I can't go to London with you. It will take my whole
2 days.
My whole weekend will be gone.
I mean, you'd have to fly there as well. It's for me.
That's a lot of cost.
She'd wake up in the middle of the night and Karen would be back in Bray.
I had to post memes, so.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll quickly move on from that one. But yeah, so that's cost signaling theory, folks. All right, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today.
But
Any
Is
last,
the is
any
this
last?
the sad rabbit hole you've gone down looking at like photos of wedding?
Honest to God. Well, I just thought that was I can't even remember how I got went down that rabbit hole, but I did actually find it interesting that people who spend more money uh may it may show the rockiness of their relationship, which I think obviously it's again, I'm looking at like survey data, and like
Yeah.
everyone will have their own individual
Yeah.
circumstances. Like there'll be
Yeah.
people who
Some people just have a lot of money to fucking throw
yeah,
at
and
things.
some people could spend a load of money on a wedding and have a great, obviously, marriage
Yeah.
and stay together forever. And some people, might spend nothing on the marriage and also break up, and then there's everything in between. But
Where we did the afters for my event, the barbecue.
mhm.
They do day twos of weddings and stuff there, and like my brother had his day two on there. A lot of the Manor Hotel, the big posh one that's going to have the Ryder Cup. A lot of people from there do their day twos or they do their day befores. I think was it the owner of some NFL team's daughter was having her wedding on in the manor,
Mhm.
and they had their night before on inside in that local pub. I was in the middle of the smoking area having a pint because I didn't realize it was going on at first, but when I walked in I was like, all right, there's fish and chips being handed out to locals. You're there all these fuckers in tweed jackets and ball gowns, and I'm sitting there in shorts and a t-shirt with my pint of Guinness.
I do love it.
I
I do
don't
love it.
belong here.
I do love a tweed jacket. I do love like an old country tweed jacket. I think they're
Well,
fantastic to
if you
have.
don't go to a wedding, you won't get to wear it.
Yeah, well, I can wear it around the apartments.
Just in your jocks and your tweed
Just
jacket,
yeah.
walking around the place. Ugh.
Last question. Do you think that paying for a first date is signaling commitment?
we're paying a lot for it, or just
No,
paying.
just be paying for the first date as the male.
No,
Don't they talk now about that fucking who invites who on the date? I know most men will offer to pay anyway, but like it's so if you're just going for a coffee, I know coffee fucking costs you a tenner now depending on what they fucking order. So like, but like,
If you're going on a first date and you were getting a coffee, it was coffee for the two of you, would you pay?
yeah,
If she offered to pay, would you still be like no?
yeah, like if you thought it might go towards somewhere else, you might make a joke if you can get the next one.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. What about you,
Yeah,
Rob? Would you
well,
would you would you always pay for a first date, or would you let them split it?
I think historically I've always paid. Um, Sometimes when they split it, it kind of not because of the splitting, but because of the kind of vibe that it is. It almost feels like there's a bit of a mates vibe going on with it for some reason. Don't know
Mm,
whether that's just me in my head, kind of categorizing it like that. But generally speaking, I'd pay. I
yeah,
think.
I think. Well, doesn't that signal financial capability? I can look after you. I'm interested in you. That's why I want to pay for this date.
Yeah,
I think it
I
makes sense.
think if they offer, I am automatically more attracted to them. And then if they accept me paying after that, again,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little. If I literally give no indication that I'm going to pay, but they're just sat there arms crossed, waiting for me to go up and pay for it, I'm kind of like,
She's
I'm
a
going
hoe.
to. I'm going. Also, I'm not probably not going to see you again.
This is a gold digging hoe.
big difference between your €5 coffee or your like 150, €200 meal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Depends what you do.
Yeah,
yeah,
if she's not offering to pay the coffee, she ain't offering to pay for much, I would imagine. But yeah, I would always like be adamant about paying on a first date. I think it's just ingrained in my social brain to.
Who who paid for the theater and the dinner?
I think it was a second or third date we split. Well, I think she paid for the theatre, I paid for the hotel and dinner, and it kind of balanced out a little bit.
Yeah, fair.
I think I paid a little bit more, hopefully. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'd like to think. I'd like to think hotel and dinner was more than the fucking theater.
If you did,
I think it was, yeah.
if it didn't work out, you should request on Revolut for your money
You
back.
send invoices.
Say, listen,
I saw a fucking meme like that. It's some girl gets a text from a guy she gave her number to the night before, and he just sends her a text just going, "This is Jeff from the bar last night." It's like, "Oh, hi Jeff, it's so nice to hear from you." And he just sends like, "You owe me $25 because I didn't go home with you last night for all those drinks."
there is a little bit of an expectation from lads, isn't there? That like if they pay for like the night out and stuff like that, that at least give me something. You know what I mean?
You know,
Well, like a kiss on the cheek, you mean?
Like a kiss on the cheek. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I
that's
meant.
that's it. Yeah,
Thank you for that.
yeah.
One more. I'll leave you with one more. So, animal behavior, because I never went into this. So, cost signaling in nature. So, the peacock's tail. Male peacocks grow enormous, colorful tails that make them easier for That makes them easier for predators to catch, because only the strongest males can survive with such a handicap. The tail signals genetic strength. And then stags fighting with antlers. Male dares engage in intense, dangerous antler combat to win mates. The risk of injury makes the signal reliable. Only strong males can afford to do that. So if you have big antlers and you're fighting, it means that you're, signaling that
Drunk lads on a night out outside Supermax battering the head off each other.
Yeah, if just
He's mine.
in front of a group of females, like just
Yeah.
it's going up with your antlers,
Bashing
being like,
chests off each other. It's like, "Ah."
yeah.
I hope we don't do this in Bali.
So yeah, there you go. Well, the peacock tail thing is like, I feel it's similar to
What is it? Does it
a lot of
have?
hu-
Does it have
a lot of
two?
human behavior.
It has two purposes. It's to attract females and to ward off predators.
Yeah, colorful
Ward
tails.
them off. I think it was the fact that they're so obvious. If they've been able to survive whilst having such an obvious tail, it demonstrates strength because predators would be able to find them. Is that what you were saying, Carl?
Yes, I think that's what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it says. So, colorful tails that make them easier for predators to catch, so predators can spot
But
them.
see, the big colorful tails is better for them because it's meant to like be like it's meant to kind of like look like a face to a predator, so it scares them off.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But
Because of the eyes?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what it. So it's either to do like a fucking weird feathery dance to pull a bird, or it's to literally fly up and like shock a predator into turning away off the first attack.
Yeah, well, it says here, colorful tails that make them easier for predators to catch, because only the strongest males can survive with such a handicap. So the tail signals genetic strength. So if it's very obvious for people to see me because of my big colorful tail, but yeah, I'm still alive, it's because I can fight, basically.
Yeah, being larger to see hasn't worked for me as a human, so I don't.
And also there's the bird song complexity. So some birds produce extremely long, complicated songs that require energy, time, and cognitive ability. Females choose males based on how costly the performance is. You know what that is in human example? Someone who plays in a band.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a good one where they take a load of different musicians and they take away their instruments out of the shot and stuff like that, and then just like look at them and they're like, if they couldn't sing or play guitar, you wouldn't give a flying fuck about them.
That's so true, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like he's just a normal, just a normal lad on the street that you would completely ignore, but put an electric guitar in his hand or an acoustic guitar, it's like, oh, he's so good looking.
Yeah, he's famous.
Yeah, it's very true, isn't it? All right, okay, right. Well, that's cost signaling. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much for indulging in my weird rabbit hole topics, and we'll go again next week. Thank you very much for your insights, as always.
Thanks for watching. If you like that episode and you want to see more content like this, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you on the next one.